Howdy, howdy, ho. Welcome back to the show. What's up, yo? Happy Wednesday because I posted this a day late because sometimes that's how things go. Hope you guys had a great weekend and welcome back. Today, we have Tuck Graham. Tuck Graham is a professional skier, car enthusiast, Instagram stylista. Maybe not, but I just thought he does have a dope Instagram. And just a super cool guy. Tuck and I both grew up in Steamboat a couple of years apart, but I really got to know him when we made a video part in 2018 called You're Boring. Since then, Tuck has been skiing all over the world with Black Crows, Sweet Protection, Full Tilt, Mons Royale, and Big Sky Resort. And I'm psyched that I got to sit down with him to talk about his career, the things you don't normally hear about a pro skier's lifestyle, and how he seeks to inspire the next generation of badass shredders. I am psyched I got to talk to Tuck. He's a cool guy, and I love his style, and I love the way he looks at life and how hard he works to freaking get his dreams. Please welcome Tuck Graham. Bye.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, skier and riders.
Oh, hey. I'm pretty good right now.
Welcome to World. All right, welcome to the podcast, Tuck. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you today, Max?
I'm great. It's freaking cold here in Cali, dude. It's cold here in Cali. Everyone's freaking out because it's like 60 degrees. So it's a big deal. Yeah, I know. It's crazy how cold it can get here. It's so gnarly. But no, I was in Arrowhead actually, like in Big Bear last weekend, and it was snowing. And it snowed like a foot, which was pretty crazy.
Damn, more snow in Colorado. That's cool.
Yeah. How much snow have you guys been getting in Colorado?
4 inches maybe in total. So nothing.
Okay. And how warm has it been?
This week it's actually been fairly cold in like the 20s, which is awesome. But last week
That's
it was
good.
in the 50s and 60s, which is kind of just like bipolar weather here.
Yeah, that's whack. Didn't it snow like a foot though earlier, like a week ago or so?
Yeah, we got 6 inches, and I was pretty stoked to go skiing soon, but then it all melted away, and now we're back to zero.
Damn. Yeah, I heard Keystone opened like yesterday or a couple days ago though, and it just looked like one groomer with like no extra snow. It was all snowblown stuff.
The white ribbon of death.
The white ribbon of death. That's classic, dude. Gotta
Gotta get
love
on it.
that. Coming up from the
Yeah.
front range, waiting in line for 5 hours, and then getting on the white ribbon of death eventually.
Stoked.
Classic. So
You gotta
classic.
respect the send though, and the dedication to get out there all day.
Oh my gosh, yeah, dude. Have you heard anything about Steamboat like Steamboat reopening and what they're gonna do for the coronavirus stuff? Or Big Sky for that matter?
I haven't paid attention to Steamboat as much, but from what I hear in Steamboat, sounds like they're gonna open. But there was just a huge outbreak, so I think things are going day by day, which is unfortunate for Steamboat people.
There was a huge outbreak in Steamboat.
Yeah, from what I hear is that there's like 50 kids from the high school that have been quarantined, and there was like a couple, maybe like 100 people admitted to the hospital for COVID-related symptoms. And I know that it's like stage 2 lockdown right now, so it's
What does that entail?
escalating quickly. I don't really know. My girlfriend told me that we have to spend time with the people in the house and not try to like mingle with others. So I think we're gonna try our best to do that.
My gosh, that's nuts. Damn.
Yeah.
And then so what are your plans then for this winter like in a coronavirus world? How have your plans changed?
I have plans of still doing stuff with Big Sky as far as like working with them in the marketing team and being an athlete up there. So I intend to go up there here and there, but other than that, I got a few small projects that I'm kind of just like waiting for the okay. And I'm just also trying to create some stuff in which I can have full control over so that if coronavirus does hit, I'm not relying on other people to get stuff done. So there'll be a little vlog coming this winter, which will be kind of fun to play around with. And I'm just hoping that everything chills out here in the next few months because I want to go skiing.
Yeah, I think that's really smart though to get your own thing going, especially because the whole industry is definitely taking a pretty big blow right now financially. And also, I mean, I couldn't imagine if the whole season, if things get worse in Steamboat and then like ski towns and stuff across the country don't have the financial, like they all make so much money at Christmas and stuff, and if that doesn't happen, then who knows what will happen after that. It's pretty scary to
Yeah,
think.
it's crazy to think about, but it would be nice to have honestly like a mellow winter with no tourists. That'd be pretty cool, but it would definitely just ruin the economy down here. So it's a win lose.
Yeah, it would be great for Pow Days, just a bunch of lokes, dude. Loke dogs just shredding all day
That'd be super
and no
nice.
tourists, but then no one has jobs. So you
And
can't have one without the other. Maybe one winner, it would be nice. But
that's right.
how has your job changed in like sponsors and relationships and stuff like that within the industry because of coronavirus? Like how has
Um,
like I mean like potential for doing projects and stuff like that, and have a lot of companies and stuff like that backed out recently, and have you seen that with other people, or what's going on with that?
it seems like it's different per sponsor and per brand and how, what they're selling, I guess, in general. But it seems like, for like a lot of people or a lot of brands in the industry, there's a lot of people that are still buying stuff because they're going to be out skiing, whether it be touring or resort, hopefully. Um, but it seems like everything's pretty standard and mellow, which is cool. Which in turn means that budgets are looking good. And it's, I think the brands are just kind of being very cautious in what they get involved in and everything. So I had like a few projects I want to do, but I kind of narrowed it down to just two that I want to do so that I can not be greedy with money and everything and just accept what I'm given and what I'm allotted and everything because I am really fortunate. So I'm just happy if I can do like one project. That'd be awesome. So it seems like everything's pretty good and I'm excited to move forward with it all.
Can you talk about those one or two projects at all, or are you trying to keep that stuff under wraps?
Kind of got to keep it a little low key right now, just mainly one because nothing's finalized yet. And I don't want to say, tell everyone that's going to happen and then it doesn't happen. So I'm hoping within the next few weeks I'll have everything ironed out. But it's day by day with COVID, so it's hard.
Yeah, no, I get that, man. It's crazy too, like being in school. It's day by day. Like we had basically a week. I think we have hybrid classes, which is like you have one class a week in person, but we had a class of like 70 people and two people showed up in person.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
so
crazy.
not a lot of in-person classes going on, and I have friends, and I'm in Chapman University in Orange County for people who don't know, and we're obviously in like a denser population place, and I have friends in Montana and in Boulder who go to class a decent amount, but it's definitely not the way it was used to. Actually, I have a friend in Boulder that got completely quarantined. Like they were not allowed to leave their houses for like 2 or 3 weeks, like anyone between the age of 18 and 22, which is crazy. Like not even just if you go to University of Boulder, like even if you live
Yeah,
in Boulder County and you're between 18 and 22. I thought that was pretty nuts.
it sounds like a rough college experience, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think that's the way it's supposed to be. It's
No,
gnarly. Cool, man. Well, I just loved, so we can kind of start from the beginning. I like to do uh, like chronological, but not so much as it's okay. So where are you from? Blah 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 blah. Because people can just look that stuff up and find it out about you. So I'd like to more talk about. So you grew up in Steamboat and you did the freestyle program. You probably raced and then you did freestyle and then did all that stuff. Am I wrong?
I did it all, man. But yeah, you're totally right. I raced at one point. I did moguls at one point, freestyle, and then the last program I actually did with the Winter Sports Club was Nordic skiing, which is completely odd, but
Wow. And
yeah,
how old were
did
you
it
when
all.
you quit the Winter Sports Club?
Probably like 14. 13.
Okay. So at that point they did not have a big, so now they have a big mountain program, but they did not have that when you were in it, right?
Yeah, it was like basically started as soon as I quit. And I don't know, I feel like growing up in Steamboat, you're a pretty talented athlete in one way or another in one regards. But I felt like I've always kind of been a decent skier, and I didn't really feel like I needed to join a program about it. Just got myself into it and figured it out from there.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to talk about, because a lot of, like, now Big Mountain is more popular than park skiing in Steamboat. So I've my prior coaches from Steamboat Springs Warner Sports Club, which is the snow sports club in Steamboat, where like all the kids basically, like, you grow up doing that, essentially most people do in one discipline or another. But I've talked to some of my coaches and they said that almost no one does park skiing anymore, and that was the big thing when I was in Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club.
Yeah.
But Big Mountain's the shit now. So, and what I think is so interesting about you is that you almost found big mountain skiing more like before anyone else I'd known in my high school, or like even in Steamboat in general. Like, most people, they raced or they skied moguls, they did Nordic, or they skied park maybe, but almost no one did big mountain. And it wasn't until you guys, you and, oh my gosh, JV and all those boys like started filming and stuff, that I really started to realize that there even was like a big mountain discipline in Steamboat. And I just thought that was so cool to see, because I honestly attribute a lot of that to you. Like, a lot of people in Steamboat really starting big mountain is because of like your style and Instagram and stuff like that coming out. And I just love to hear how you kind of found that over the years, and where you took different traits from different disciplines of skiing and then you kind of brought it all together, or maybe you like saw a movie or something like that and were like, oh, maybe I should just start doing this.
Well, thank you. That's very kind. I didn't realize that was how you guys saw it, but that's really cool, and it makes me happy for sure. Um, but basically, I recall one day I was skiing in the park, and I was kind of thinking about trying to like get back into the park scene. And I remember I hit this S rail, like a box S rail, and I remember I racked myself right on the transition of it. And I was like super young kid at the time, and I racked myself super hard, and like my feet couldn't touch either side, so it's like it went full groin. And I just, from that moment on, I really hated the park in all senses. And I had grown up watching ski movies, and it always looked like a lot of fun to ski deep powder and to jump off rocks and all that stuff. And I think having a little bit of a background in parks, I was able to know the basics of jumping off stuff, and then it was kind of just trial and error. But there was definitely a lot of inspiration from watching ski movies growing up, and like wanting to go to Alaska and everything, and trying to find that in Steamboat, which unfortunately there's not a lot of, but you can still find enough stuff to have fun on and learn. So I would definitely say ski movies are where it was.
Yeah, no, ski movies are where it's at, man. TGR and like Valdez heli lines back in the day was classic. But so talking about Steamboat, well, you said unfortunately Steamboat doesn't really have that kind of terrain, but you tried to find it in Steamboat. So just for people who aren't from Steamboat, or maybe have never skied Steamboat, how do you describe the mountain and like the characteristics that the mountain has, and how they don't fit your nature of skiing?
It's a very playful mountain, which is really cool in some aspects. But if you want to like get into big mountain stuff, you're wanting something that's going to have steep, long runs, and it's going to burn your legs, and you're going to have like a lot of opportunities to jump off big rocks and land on a steep pitch instead of landing flat, which is, again, unfortunately what Steamboat has, because it's like there's these big rocks all over the place, but the landings are just mega flat. So you would go out to places like Fish Creek Canyon and try not to get cliffed out and find some stuff, but it's just the geographics here are just not big mountain. You need something up and above tree line at least to start exploring and expanding yourself.
And so, because of the lack of terrain, how did you go about? I mean, now you're a pro sponsored athlete who skis Big Mountain for like a living. So, how did you go about developing your style and your place within the industry, but also like becoming a good Big Mountain skier while still living in Steamboat? Like, what were the things you had to do? Like you talked about Fish Creek Canyon and the places you had to go to try and find this kind of terrain that would match the type that you were looking for.
I think a lot of it is a really simple thing, but I entered my first big mountain competition. I don't even know when, maybe in like 2013 or something. And it was at like Winter Park, but I just recall it being really, really bad snow that's icy and filled with moguls. And so, your goal with Big Mountain is to make it from the top to the bottom in a very smooth fashion, hitting jumps here and there. And if you can incorporate some tricks, that's awesome. But you want to make it to the bottom on your feet. And the only thing in Steamboat that I could kind of relate to it was just skiing mogul runs, basically as smooth and as fast as I could. And then adding in the cat track jumps, or like finding a tranny between two moguls or something on the side in which no one really sees. But I felt like if you could ski a mogul run super fast and smooth, that you're going to be a good skier, and then the rest will kind of follow into place. So I would just basically bomb the mogul runs and just do my best.
That sounds like a good bumper sticker. Bomb the mogul runs.
It would be a good one.
So yeah, you briefly talked about so you started competing in 2013 in Winter Park. You said that was your first comp. And what was your competition career? What did it look like? And how did you transition out of it? Because now you don't do competitions. And I'd just love to hear more about what you think about competitive skiing and how it's different from what you do now.
Yeah, that's a big turning point, I guess, in my life. My competition career per se was very limited to, I think it was 5 contests in total, which is really funny. But I placed within, I think, the top 10 in all of them that I finished the run in. And then I remember I crashed and broke an elbow in one, and then blew a knee in another one. So basically, my competition career was very, very short. And I just looked at it as, in my eyes, there wasn't that big of an opportunity for me to progress. And I felt like I was pretty good at marketing, just, I guess, from building an Instagram and social media page. And I felt like I could take my talents there, basically do the exact same thing that you're doing in a contest, which is, trying to land good runs and show off your sponsors and market your sponsors, but you're marketing through a contest and all the eyes there. I felt like I could just do it a lot better on social media because I'm more of a creative person, and it definitely paid off. As far as like sponsorships and stuff, a lot of it was just right place, right time. And I was very lucky growing up in Steamboat because we're really tight knit here. And we know a lot of people in the ski industry, and they're willing to help you out, and that's a really great thing about Steamboat in general. And I think that as well. Like, it's kind of like a big family. So I was just fortunate to be at the right place at the right time when there was brands looking to break through into the US, and I had contest results to back myself up and a social media page that as well backed it up, and they kind of just blossomed from there.
And who were your first sponsors?
My first sponsor was a brand called Tomahawk International. And for those of you in the ski world, Parker White, he was basically like one of the co-owners, I think, of the brand for a while, and a guy named Jimbo Morgan, and they were both amazing and had faith in me and everything, and that was really cool. Um, but they were flowing me some product here and there, and that's kind of what set it off. And now it's turned into a full-on dream. So it's crazy.
And how old were you when you were signed by Tomahawk?
Well, I didn't sign with them, but I think I was 18 when I first got just stuff sent to me, which was really cool. I felt like a total pro.
Yeah, getting free stuff is the best. So you were 18, and at that point you'd finished your try at competitive skiing, and you had already started the social media thing. And what year was that?
Probably 2014, I guess. Yeah, probably
And
2014 or 2015.
and how many followers did you have when you got Tomahawk? When you got stuff from Tomahawk?
Maybe like
Do you know?
1,000 at most.
Okay.
I had
So-
just like started Instagram.
And so when they looked at you, were they just like, oh, this is a cool kid who has sick style and we're just going to give him stuff, you think? Or was it oh, he has 1,000 followers and we're going to give him stuff because he has 1,000 followers?
I think it was a mix, but largely part of contest results, because I did do a few contests like with all their clothes and everything, and I was putting out some good results, and they were, when I told them that I kind of want to do more social media stuff, they were behind it and they were down, because that was also starting to trend in the industry and becoming more of a legit thing to where you could be a sponsored athlete but not actually compete. And again, I think that all just comes back down to timing.
Yeah. You're fortunate that you were in that kind of, in 2014 was, I mean, I got an Instagram in 2012, and I remember it just being like photos of people's backyards and like maybe a moose you see here and there with like an X Pro 2 filter. Just like, yeah, this is this moose I saw. But it's crazy, especially back then. Did you kind of see the potential even at a young age of like where social media could go, or what was the incentive for you to go on it, and how did you know that that's what you wanted to make your career out of instead of competitive skiing?
I saw some people that I kind of had like looked up to and I would follow on social media that did go through with big mountain contests, and they go the Freeride World Tour, and it was really cool to see them on like the live webcast and whatever. And I don't know how much time and effort they were putting into social media or how much they even cared about it in general. I mean, not everyone cares about it the same way that I do, but their following from being on the world tour was not that much more than mine, as some kid who went to a few big mountain contests and just posts sick photos and videos and hopefully hype some kids up. But I slowly started to understand that the reach that you could get on social media was 1,000 times more than the reach that you could get off of a live webcast of a big mountain contest. And I think that might just more or less be true to big mountain, because I feel like it's very hard to go watch a big mountain contest. It's not something that's on TV like the World Cup or like the X Games or whatever. So I think just for big mountain, really, it's, in my mind, it was clear to go with social media because I could reach such a bigger audience and I could project myself exactly how I wanted to.
And do you think that, and you amassed a decent amount of sponsors fairly quickly, and do you think that's because you realized that early on and then they started to realize that? I think that there was a big transition from like magazines and these long feature films into social media and then the webcast and stuff. But even now, like competitive skiing is almost just like X Games has a place for sure, but a lot of how many people you think watch a World Cup besides like dedicated skiers, right? Probably not a lot.
Not a ton.
But a lot of people, if you make cool stuff on Instagram, are going to see it. And I'm curious, do you think that you realized that before the companies did, and then you, like you said, right place at the right time, kind of slid into that spot where you're like, hey, I can be this person that you now realize has potential, like on a marketing wise, excuse me. And you kind of took advantage of that?
100%. Like, I don't know. I think I just saw it and realized it, and I think I took a leap into knowing that I'm creative and that I can produce some cool things. And I think, also brands really understood that if you give this guy product and he has X sponsors and he's getting posted on their channels, that's like a whole demographic and like different variety of people that this brand wouldn't have reached necessarily if they wouldn't have given you some free stuff. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, totally. And so you got the free stuff. It's called Flow for people who don't know. You get like flowed gear from different companies, and that just means you're not getting paid, or like you basically just get free gear and then you wear it and post a photo about it and then you talk about it. So you got Flow from Tomahawk, and who came next? And as far as building your sponsorship, did you reach out to companies or did they reach out to you? And how would you recommend people doing that? Because I mean, I bet there's a lot of younger people who always DM you and say, hey, I want to get sponsored. Like, I'm going to make a little 3-minute edit and then send it to a sponsor. And then I'm going to like expect to get free stuff. But it seems like you thought way more about it on a marketing level and realized that, hey, there's a niche of people in the Rocky Mountains and in the Western United States that like companies like Black Crows, who are based out of Europe and stuff, can take advantage of, because that's a completely new market. Like if you look at a lot of people in Norway ski Black Crows, but a lot of people in Denver and the Front Range ski Icelantics, because Icelantic is from Denver. So did you reach out to those companies or did they find you?
It was more or less me reaching out to them, but also vice versa. Black Crows was probably like the next biggest step, and it's been like the most pivotal part of everything, I guess, because I was looking for a ski sponsor, and one of our family friends was starting to rep Black Crows and bring them over to the States. And he's like, I think you'd be a great fit for them. And he basically put me in touch with the team manager at the time. And basically, like the last 6 years have just been blossoming from there, which is really cool. So with them just coming to the States, again, timing for one, because now Black Crows is one of the largest independent free ski brands in the world, and everyone wants Black Crows, and I don't blame them. But I work for Black Crows, and we see hundreds of requests a day for sponsorships. But kind of moving forward, there's like recently I'm now like with Douchebags, and that's a really, really like top honor for me. Kind of, I've like always wanted to become part of like that family, and it took me probably 3 years to get with Douchebags. One, because they are a Norwegian-based brand, so just everything in the state, like for them getting involved in the States takes a lot on their side. But when you can email people as much as you want, and if they're not willing to give you free product, then you spend $200 on a backpack and take some photos with it if you feel like it. I mean, try to make it like an organic styled photo, not something like, oh, douchebags this, douchebags that, like buy these bags. But then again, it like all comes down to also kind of who you know and timing and everything. And they were starting to break out in the US, I guess, like last year, and they reached out and asked if I was interested. So they saw what I was doing, and they were liking what I was doing here in the States, and they thought I would be a good or a good fit, excuse me. So it varies per brand, but I think if you're someone trying to get involved in sponsorships and everything, I think the biggest thing is to find what you're good at. For me, it's marketing and Instagram. It's not contests. I mean, I can do contests, but it's not my thing. I'm going to put my energy into marketing and Instagram and social media. But basically, you got to find exactly what it is that you're good at. And you got to start building in my mind, if you go to social media, you got to start building a brand and an image and something that, maybe some kids are drawn to and whatever. And from there, you got to also have the skiing or riding to back all that up. You can't just be one of those like Instagram influencers. And I know I'm not the best skier ever, but I know I can hold my own in basically everywhere, and that's a good thing. I'm okay with that. But yeah, kind of building a brand around yourself if you're going to go the social media route, I think is a really smart way to do it. And then consistent quality content, I think, is really huge. I really struggle with that. It's really, really hard, and it's something I'm trying to work on and be better at. But you got to produce content all the time, which is really hard. But I would say that's kind of like the key points to going out and doing what I'm doing. And I also think that you got to kind of bite the bullet sometimes. And like, if you want to be on Black Crows per se, it's best to just kind of buy a pair of the skis and then start tagging them in photos and videos instead of like asking for a pair of skis and being like, I can do this, I can do that. But I think if you have the product and you can start creating content based around the product, that they're going to notice that, and that will just have more leverage behind you to get sponsored.
And so you said that you wanted to partner with Douchebags over, like, you've been wanting to do that for the last 3 years. But I mean, personally, this is just also useful for me. Like, so for someone who wants to reach out and connect with companies and brands, whatnot, how do you bring, because at the end of the day, it should be a mutual benefit. So if you ask them for something, they should get something in return. That's just business. So how do you make your case as a pro skier saying, hey, like, do you say I have this amount of engagement, or like, how did you make your case to Douchebags to say, hey, like, I'm worth your time and your money and getting free stuff?
I didn't really, I guess, have to make a case towards it. I just tried to let my actions and my content speak for myself, or speak for itself, I guess. Because really, I think they just like look at that and they can see that the way that I do my content is I try to make it very organic, where I don't really want to push the brand like too much and like make it super annoying for people to be like on Instagram and like scrolling through your story and be like, oh, tag this, Douchebags this, like swipe up this, like here's a code for this. Like, I do that here and there when I have the opportunity to give away a bag or a discount. Like, I want to give it to all of you guys, and I'm going to do my best to do it. But I think it's just organically placing products in stories and posts to which people are going to see it, but you're not like pushing it on them. They're like, oh, there's a pair of Black Crow skis. Like, there's a Douchebag. There's a Mons Royale like face mask. Like, but you're just subtly dropping hints about the brand constantly. But I think just doing that, it tells the brand that you know how to market their product in a really unique way, I guess, and be able to hopefully drive sales to their brand because people are interested.
How do you go about marketing yourself to other people without making other people feel like that they're getting taken advantage of as a consumer? And like you said, you talked about like discount code here, or like giveaways and discounts are great, but it's more the like kind of the things that are almost obnoxious, especially with the influencer stereotype that's getting kind of like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, how do you not just seem like a quote unquote influencer and like someone more, you know what I mean?
I really try to be open with everyone. Like, there's a lot of people that will DM me about skis, let's say, and they'll like ask me, you know, like, is this ski like actually good? for this kind of skiing. And I'll be like straight up and be like, that ski is not going to be the ski for you. And it even comes down to like, like boots per se. Like that's something that I feel like I can't really push on people. I can tell them about how I feel in the boots, but when it comes down to it, it's honestly based on what your foot feels good in. And if that's a full tilt, that's awesome. If it's not, then that's okay. As long as you're going to go out and ski and have a good day, that's a comfortable day of skiing. That's really all that I care about. So, when people ask me again, like I don't try to push it, and I want to just give good advice about the products I use because I've used them for 4 or 5 years now, and I've been pushing them all to the limits. And I try to only represent brands that I feel comfortable about and that I trust fully. But if it's something that I don't really enjoy or like, I'm going to be like straight up with people about it and tell them. But I think it's just about being a real person and not trying to be the person trying to make money off of them, because that's not what I'm trying to do. I mean, it's cool when you do, but at the same time, it's all about being outside and enjoying skiing or snowboarding or whatever it is you're doing.
Heck yeah, I'm glad to hear that your intentions are in a good place. It's cool to hear that, especially in like such a almost toxic Instagram culture now. It's just so oversaturated with a lot of these people with intentions just to make money. It seems fairly clear. So it's good to hear that you care a lot about the people and honestly them just having a good time. I think that's super cool. But along with your Instagram, I think that your style is very, very unique and distinct. And I'd just love to hear how you developed that over the years on Instagram and your skiing style and how you've kind of correlated them together to make yourself and how that may have helped you over the years. Because a lot of people have very similar Instagrams or they just copy other people's, but I don't think yours is copying a lot of other people's. I think it's very unique. So I'd just love to hear about how you came to find that.
I took a lot of inspiration from Jossie Wells in the beginning. And for those of you who know who he is, he's a crazy skier and a really cool guy. But I really liked his black and white photos because that's what he only posts on his Instagram. And I like the look of it, but I'm also very, very interested in photography and I care very deeply about posts. And I was doing black and white for a while, but I kind of started getting clothing that was bright colors and I figured that they don't represent it well in black and white. So, I transitioned out of that. But basically, when it comes down to the fall and I know what I'm wearing for the winter as far as clothing and like what my skis are like and everything, I kind of try to have a whole outfit that all flows together very well, no matter what I'm wearing. And then with that, I work with my photographers and my video people that when we are out creating content, that it's shot in a very specific way. And I really like to take their feedback on how they think it should be and kind of work together to create an image that's going to fit well with a feed. So, to me, it's like really annoying when people just post random photos. But again, I don't really care that much, but it's like a little nitpicky thing. But when you look at someone's feed, like I feel like it should all flow together very well and be a good mix of like beautiful images of mountains or trees or roads or whatever. And then also skiing and marketing all together into one thing. So basically I try to just gather a color palette at the beginning of the year and really try to stick to that through every single post and video. And then also try to do the same when I do stories as well to keep it all congruent so that basically when someone's flipping through a story or scrolling through a feed, without even looking at the username, they can tell by the photo or the text or whatever that it's mine. It's kind of like, I bet a lot of you people that are listening to this know what Supreme is, but when I think of Supreme, I think of the red box logo with the white text. And if I even glance at that, I just like think of Supreme. But basically, just brand or make an image for yourself and keep that congruent through the whole season, so that people just resort to you whenever they see that. That's the goal.
And do you think that over time, as you developed the knowledge of like, okay, this is how because I think that shows maturity on a platform as well. If you know like those different marketing techniques and saying like, okay, I'm going to develop this color palette and stick to it. And then you go to a brand and you look way more prepared and like able to be marketable to people and stuff like that. So did you feel like over time that you saw more opportunities open up as obviously as your followers increased, but also your style became more solidified?
Definitely, because brands are really smart. They have a whole team of people, and there's people that go and look at all the tagged photos for the day of that brand, and depending on the brand, they'll reach out or whatever. But I think that, again, they're really smart, and they're going to notice people who kind of stand out. So I think in time, they kind of understood how I work and how I do things on social media, and they really enjoyed it. And it kind of is true with how they present themselves as a brand as well. And it just makes for a nice partnership in a way. So I think knowing kind of about that stuff, it definitely is just another asset on your side.
Do you have any tips on amassing a following and like getting a following?
Engaging with your following, I think, is huge. I feel like there's a lot of like the influencers, if you try to comment on Kendall Jenner's photo about something, she's not going to respond. But I feel like there's some people that don't have a big following that try to be too cool for everyone, which is kind of annoying because you're really not better than anyone else. You're just a normal person. So I try to, when people like DM me and it goes to my requested messages, I try to go through there like once a week and just hopefully answer some of those questions, or, just like their comment or whatever, because I think it shows that you're a real person. And again, that kind of goes back to not trying to you're not using Instagram to just sell stuff. You're a person, and you actually use, for me, I use it as a way to communicate as well and build relationships. So just not being above anyone else. We're all the same.
And you've briefly talked about how you see Instagram. Well, you seem very passionate about Instagram, and obviously that helps with your success and your ability to create cool content. But have there been any times where you've kind of gotten sick of what is on the platform today? And have you ever like been tempted to just like delete it for a little bit, or have you done that?
Very passionate about Instagram. But no, I've never been tempted about it. And I feel like it's because, at least within the last few years, I've been working a lot more. And so my time spent on Instagram has decreased. And I've kind of weeded out, I guess, like, I know it's bad to say, but it's like the people who just like post all day, every day, like mega stories. They're like the stupid ones where you have to tap all the time. I've kind of weeded out the people who do that so that I see what I want to see. And, it's definitely kind of frustrating because it's so big, and like you trying to keep up with all these trends and like learn all the new features and everything. But I've accepted it as part of my job to do that. And so I kind of look at it more as a job platform and not try to take it too seriously, because it's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to hear that you think it's not that big of a deal because like me personally, I have thought it's way too big of a deal and taken it way too seriously. Like I've gotten to points even now where like I thought I had such a quality on my Instagram that like you said it's hard to produce high quality content consistently. And so I wouldn't want to post something if it wasn't cooler than the last thing I posted. But then that can only go so far to the point where I'm like, well, I can't go to Tahiti right now to take an insane video of some surfer or go to Chamonix to film some skier with this drone or something like that. And then this results in like me not posting. And I think that especially nowadays, you just really need to remain, like you said, you really need to remain consistent. I mean, I haven't posted in like a couple of weeks now. And then I've seen my follower count decrease and stuff, which I personally don't care about because I don't really like Instagram all that much right now. But I think that I need to take some of your advice and look at it more as like, look, this is a tool to connect with people in like a job sense rather than just like going on Instagram randomly when I have free time and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of conflict in a lot of different areas. Because like you, I want to post like a biking photo, but the colors of green trees and it just doesn't flow with the whole color palette. And I think, if you're gonna go that route where you want to post something from a surf trip to a skiing trip or something, it's just about transitioning it really smoothly and making it all flow together if you really care like deeply. Or you could just not post and not really care. But it's a fine line that you kind of just have to either be okay with like losing followers, which I'm okay with. I lost a ton of followers during quarantine. I think people were super annoyed of Instagram, and that's fine. But I saw a huge decrease, and it like makes me want to go out and create more content, and I look forward to it. But I think it's just very hard to be really, really good at it, and I admire the people who are able to be really, really good at posting every other day or every day quality content that hits so many different sports and whatever. Like it's really cool to see. But again, I'm still learning how to do that. Not quite there yet.
Because of such the amount of quality content that is on Instagram nowadays, do you think that people are becoming numb to what's actually really cool? Like back in the day, if you told me when I was like really young that I could just watch endless clips of people doing insane shit all the time, I'd be psyched. But it's like I don't know, like I feel like people, including me, I've built up almost a tolerance to like how cool something is for me to think it's cool nowadays. It's like back in the day, you'd watch a ski movie or look at a magazine and you see a photo. It's like, wow, that photo is really cool. But it could be an insane photo that some guy posted that took him 2 weeks to hike into the Chilean mountains to get, while it's like this moonlit thing. And I'm going to look at it for 10 seconds, if that, and like it and move on about my day. And I mean, as like a creator, quote unquote, I find that kind of disappointing because I think a lot of people's appreciation for the hard work that goes into creating this stuff has just gone down so much. And it's crazy how like a lot of these really cool, unique creators who make cool shit just don't get appreciated even more than like a TikTok dance, you know what I mean? So how do you go about like how do you feel about that?
We take in so much information in a day, and it's not, I think, healthy for us. At least for me, like growing up, I didn't grow up with I guess I did grow up with the internet, but it wasn't at this stage that it's at now. But I think you're right. Like now, you just there's so many things and so many different rabbit holes that you can go down that you do become numb to it. And it's hard because you want to like put out good content, but you also realize that it doesn't like really resonate, I guess, with everyone. Like I don't see my 16,000 followers liking my photos every single day. I sometimes only see 600 people liking it, and that's totally fine. But I feel like you just have to realize that if you're okay with the photo and you like the photo or the video that you're posting, that's really all that matters, because it's kind of like your photo album and your way on how you see life, and it doesn't really matter how everyone else sees it, and it doesn't really matter how many likes you get or whatever. And I think it's good that Instagram took away like the how many likes feature. I think that's really nice because it makes you a little bit less anxious, maybe. But I just think it's going to continue to grow, and there's no way around it. So you kind of just have to accept it.
Are you on TikTok?
I do have a TikTok. I don't post anything really. I did try to. I tried to like get a bunch of likes and everything, but unfortunately, I'm not a cute girl, so it just didn't really blow up for me.
Did you feel pressure from your sponsors to like move to that platform?
No, not at all. This was all a personal thing, and just
Yeah.
I was like, at first I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna create this like ski TikTok because I like saw things that were getting hundreds of thousands of likes, and I was like, wow, I do that every day too. But I don't know. It doesn't really resonate with me as much as like Instagram does. So I'm not trying to post on there that often. I'm gonna stick to what I'm good at.
Yeah, that's good. Where do you see Instagram going and your role on the platform in the next couple of years?
I would love to be able to grow my following by a bit and be able to kind of help. I wouldn't say like inspire kids, but just a little bit of inspiring people to do things that they love, but also just having a really beautiful arrangement of photos and videos that showcase my life every year. Because I think it's a really good platform to do it, and I think it's an authentic platform to do it. So I'll be continuing it, and hopefully I get some cool followers, and hopefully with some stuff I do this winter, I'll blow up a little bit. But I'm just gonna keep on doing what I can and showcasing all my skiing and whatnot.
What's something that no one knows about being a pro skier in 2020?
It's a good question. Um, that there's a lot more, I guess. Okay, I guess it depends on what kind of pro skier you are. But for me, social media wise, it's a lot of work, and you kind of have to plan it out more than you think. And I feel like some people might see it as like, oh, he just posted a photo about like these skis or like about this helmet or something, but it's just a lot of planning and work to be able to fit in all of your required posts per year and not push it on people. You got to make it like authentic, as I said. So a little bit stressful, but a lot of fun too.
Yeah, I can imagine. And the more in a way, like it's funny, like as a cinematographer or director or something like that, in a way, like people like me who normally were like behind the lens are almost becoming the traditional way that like athletes are now as well. And that like a lot of like Canon will sponsor like a cinematographer or something like that, and then that person becomes marketable to market cameras, which in traditional like that never used to happen. uh so I think it's just interesting how that's developed. But is there do people misunderstand also financially, like how much money you make? I'm not asking you to tell me how much money you make, but do you just ski or do you do other jobs as well to like to fund your passions? Or
If I was to try to live off the money that I make skiing, I'd be living the most frugal life ever. Like at least for me personally, it's different for everyone, but at least where I'm at, I can't live off of just skiing. So I do work a lot, and I am fortunate enough to work for Black Crows, which is really really cool. So honestly, when I'm not skiing, I'm basically in meetings or writing emails, and basically that's my whole day. So I do have to work, and I think a lot of people don't really know that. I just think the skiing budgets over the years have kind of dwindled down because it's now spread across a wide variety of people, not just a few people. So with that, more people are making money, which is really cool. But that just means that you either have to have another job or grow bigger to hopefully make more money in skiing. But yeah, there's a lot of work that I do on the side. So if you guys want to like just chat, hit up Black Crow's like the little chat bubble, and there's like a 90% chance that I'll talk to you for a little bit.
Hey, that's a nice little insider tip. If you want to have a personal chat with Tuck Graham, just hit up the customer service thing on Black Crows. And I think it's really humbling to hear that, like, it's not like you're living this like super sexy Sean Pettit in Whistler with like, did you ever watch his Red Bull series where he's like with all the babes in the hot tub and then he like takes the helicopter from his house? Like, I just think that a lot of people think that's reality, but like you said, the industry is so spread out now and money's all over the place that a lot of that doesn't exist like it did before. So what do you do during the summer? Like, what's your job?
Well, first of all, I would love to live a Sean Pettit life. That guy's an idol, and he's really nice too, which is cool. But yeah, not everyone can do that, so I have to work. But traditionally, for the last like 4 years, I was painting houses in the summertime, doing that like 85 hours a week, or 45 hours a week, I guess. And I was making good money. Painters make decent money, so that was dope. But I've wanted to kind of take a step forward and move into something that I could actually use my brain. So I've now signed on with Black Crows and doing online work for them full time, and that's super cool. And then I also I actually manage a few Instagram accounts online too. So between all that, I have myself really busy.
That's good. I think it's
Great.
cool to hear. I haven't seen a lot of painting photos on your Instagram of you painting, but I think it's cool to hear that you're like working for your passion. I think it's very admirable. And go ahead if you're gonna say something.
Yeah, I don't post about it because I want to try to portray the really cool parts of my life. I don't find that painting's really that cool. It doesn't really fit the aesthetic. But I was also going to say that at the start of my whole skiing career, when I was able to, when I was trying to make it all work, I was painting in the summers and I still needed a job in the winters, but I didn't want to sacrifice skiing. And so for, I think, 3 years, I worked as a night janitor at the mountain. So basically I was given the opportunity to ski from 8 to 4, and then I would work from 4 to 3 a.m. and sleep for a few hours and then go ski again. But it allowed me the opportunity to ski. And I think it's a thing that not many people know, but I kind of figured out how I was still able to go skiing, but still make money, even though I wasn't a pro skier at the time.
Yeah, that's badass, man. Like I said, it's cool to hear your commitment. On social media and stuff nowadays, it's so competitive, and I'd love to hear how you try to remain relevant within the industry that's like blossoming so quickly and remain marketable.
First of all, I wouldn't compare yourself to anyone else. Everyone else has their own stuff going on. They're doing whatever they're doing, but I think it's really just about, again, knowing exactly what you're good at and doing that to the best of your ability, and not trying to there's a lot of kids out there who I admire and like what they do and everything, and I sometimes think like, oh, I should do that next year, but I just kind of say to myself like, no, I'm like really good at this. Why, if I know that I'm not good at it, why would I go and spend my time doing that and trying to make it work? I feel like it's just about staying in your lane and being like true to yourself and really just trying to be the best version of yourself, whether it be on social media or like contests or movies. Like, you just try to give your best to that and continue taking steps in your own life to build on like what you have. So it really can be anything. Again, it's not like a competition. It's a competition with yourself, but I feel like sponsors and brands really understand that, admire that, because you're not wasting their money away. You know what you're good at, and you just try to build on what you have.
Yeah, that's great. Do you worry about your future as you get older within the industry and like skiing and whatnot?
Oh yeah, I'm 25 right now, and I've already blown my knees 3 times, and it's like hard. It doesn't suck walking, but it does at times. And I also know that skiing is just not going to be like a lifetime thing. So that's another reason why I started getting more involved with like online work with Black Crows, so that I have something to where I can fall back on when I'm done skiing. But I could also take all of this experience and bring it over to another job, another brand or whatever. But I think that if you're able to manage putting a lot of time into skiing, but also a lot of time into working, you're just bettering yourself in the long run of things. Because I know that like I could blow my knee the first day of skiing and not be able to ski the rest of the winter. So I do try to think ahead a lot, because I just know it's not going to last forever, and I want to have something there for when it's over.
I think that's really smart. I think a lot of well, I'd love to hear, did you always have that mentality, or did you learn that after getting injured? And what were your injuries like, and how did that change your mentality and the way you looked at your professional role as a skier, but also your future?
I've always kind of had that thought, because I've always wanted to be successful, and I didn't know, like, there's no like legit term on what successful meant, but I just wanted to be successful in my own mind. And I knew that it meant working hard. Um, so it was just kind of something always there. But in terms of kind of like injuries and everything, when I blew my knee, I was really, really bored. And I was working, I think, as a night janitor that year when I blew my knee. So I couldn't obviously go up and do any work. And luckily enough, Black Crows offered me a job doing customer service, and that was awesome. So I kind of just have built on that from the past, because now I know that if I do get injured, I have something there, because injuries suck and you can't do anything. So it's good for my mind to be able to do stuff when I'm just sitting on the couch. But I think it also translates like in the marketing aspect. Like I want to try to build my whole brand and myself into a place where I'm not just marketing skiing stuff, but like I have a passion in fashion and clothes, or fashion and cars, excuse me. So, if I can become an ambassador for cars or clothes or something, and I can still do my marketing thing, then that's awesome. It's just another avenue that I can go down when skiing ends, and still be able to be creative as I like.
Yeah, it's awesome doing, man. I think it's cool how you have such a, like, how you dabble in so many different industries and whatnot. Like you love cars and you love fashion and you love skiing, and it's cool to see all that come together on your social media and just the way you carry yourself in general. I think it's unique and it's cool to see. Um, were there ever points in your professional career when you'd already committed that you worried about sponsors dropping you and you losing the potential of like living your dream?
Yeah, every year. Well, not every year, but a lot of the time, yeah. Because some of my contracts are only like year-long contracts, and it's a little nerve-wracking when you're hoping that you're doing a great job. And I feel like I am, because I'm in pretty close contact with all my team managers and everything. But I just know that things can change really quickly, and can become pretty irrelevant pretty quickly. Um, so with that, like I've kind of felt like the last 4 years I've been not take like I've just not been the best version of myself that I could be. And I think I could do a lot better. So I've definitely taken things a lot more seriously this year in terms of how I'm going about winter and how I want it to look and what I'm doing. And also just like opportunities have opened up and everything, but I've had a personal trainer for the last 2 months and I'm getting really strong and ready for everything because I never really worked out before this. So I think that this should help quite a bit and be cool. And I think my mindset going into it will help, but I definitely fear the change and I know that it's not going to be there forever. So I'm also just kind of enjoying it every single year and just being thankful when I get a box of gear or something. And, if I don't get a check, then that's okay. But checks obviously make things super awesome.
You mentioned how over the last 4 years, you haven't been up to the capabilities that you say that you are capable of. Why have you not been up to that standard, and how do you seek to improve the standard this year?
I think a lot of it's based around injuries and not wanting to get hurt again because getting hurt really sucks. So I think I had found a limit in which I can still push myself and to produce content that was good enough for all my sponsors and everything. But I'm actually super bored of it. So that's why I have a few projects that fingers crossed are going to happen in which I can really just showcase exactly who I am and what I'm like really good at. So, like I said, I have a personal trainer and I see her 3 days a week and basically like just making myself super buff to be able to really like take on anything. But even just like simple things like falling, I can now be a little bit more comfortable and confident falling that I'm not going to get hurt because I think when you don't work out and you don't like prepare your body for the kind of skiing that impact has on it, it can weaken it pretty easily. So now I can just jump right into skiing and not really have to tiptoe into it as I have in previous years.
And you talk about how basically it sounds like your physical, well, almost lack of preparation. That's not the best way to say that, but
That's totally fine.
Okay. Your physical lack of preparation over the last couple of years has inhibited your mental capability to be the best athlete that you can be. So now that you're working on that physical preparation, how much difference of them do you think it'll make mentally going into feeling the most confident you can this season?
It's going to make a huge difference. I mean, like I said, like there's times where like I've been staying on top of like a cliff or like a line. I'm like, wow, I know that if I make like a one wrong turn here or like don't land this right, I'm gonna blow my knee. But I think going into it and knowing that I'm legitly like strong enough, at least with my personal trainer, she tells me that, I'm doing this amount of weight and like this many reps or whatever. And she's like, this is like great, like it's gonna help you a ton. But I can kind of put it into perspective of skiing, like, oh, I can handle my body weight coming down and landing this. And I'm confident that my core is going to be there, my legs are going to be there to help take in all the impact, and I'm going to land this, and it's going to be dope. So it's just nice mental comfort to have in the back of your head when I'm out skiing, I guess, from now on.
Yeah, I think that especially in skiing, a sport with so much inherent risk, it's really important to have that mental side. And I've had the same thing in the experience of improving the physical improves the mental capability. So in pursuing skiing as in a professional career, skiing is it's a team thing in the way that you're with your friends when you go do it, but in a way it is very selfish in the fact that like I'm going out skiing to have fun and pursuing it professionally. How do you feel in like that you how do you feel like you've given back to the community that's given so much to you, and how do you look ahead and try to feel like you're doing something in exchange for all of the fun that you've had?
Wow, that's a good question. I hope that through my social media and my skiing and everything, and like me communicating with people, I hope that it can help kids kind of follow their dreams in skiing if that's what they're going for. I mean, it could be surfing or biking or whatever, but I think if you're dedicated enough and you put your mind to it, that you can definitely do it. I think it's one of the biggest things because it was definitely like a dream of mine to be a professional skier when I was a kid. And I turned down college to go and ski, and it wasn't guaranteed. College was guaranteed, but skiing was never guaranteed. And I took a big leap, and it paid off, and I'm super happy. And there's nothing against college. I mean, I think college is great, but I think in general, if you can be happy, then that's the most important thing. So I hope that, kids can hear that and then basically just do what makes them happy, not try to follow the whole trend of going to college and whatever. And again, nothing wrong with college. I think it's a great opportunity and super cool. But I think that some kids, in high school, they don't know what they're doing. I don't even know what I'm doing with myself. It may look like it, but I have no idea what I'm doing at all. And they get into college and then they come out and they realize that's not what they wanted to do. And that's a lot of money in 4 years of your time, which is a lot of time. So I don't know. I guess I just hope I can help kids be happier in the future.
I think that's a great purpose to have, to inspire people, and especially in the future when a lot of the places that we love to ski and the things we love to do outside are at risk, that it's cool to share that with the next generation and inspire them to take care of those places that we love so much. Do you have any regrets throughout your skiing career?
Um, wouldn't say no, not really regrets. I'm definitely like there's times where I've hit jumps and stuff like in crazy places, and I don't do things because I don't want to get hurt. So maybe just regret kind of holding back a little bit on at times. Um, but other than that, no, it's been pretty awesome. I mean, I've definitely like been at times where I've had like no money and been like across the world, and it sucks, but it's kind of fun in the end. Trying to travel across the world with no money, but I do think how my life would be like a lot different if I would have went to school and not focused on skiing. But I'm really enjoying it, and I'm in a place now where like I'm literally like living my dream. So that's pretty awesome.
That's amazing that you're it's so amazing that you can say that you are really living your dream. That's awesome.
Very,
Uh,
very
what
proud.
does the future hold for Tuck Graham?
Um, gonna be some cool skiing stuff on my Instagram. There's gonna be a cool little project that I'm doing, which again, fingers crossed it goes through. Maybe some movie appearances this winter, and a really cool new car coming, which is also a lot of fun to work on. And I'm really excited to show people that care about cars my car. So that's really like all I have that like I'm hyped about at this current moment for my future.
And after skiing, do you know what you want to do?
No idea. I just know I want to be able to work online and be able to be wherever in the world I want to be doing whatever I want to be doing. So I guess just freedom.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Tuck. Do you have you have any final words?
You can follow me on Instagram at _TG and then 4 more underscores. But that was a lot of fun, Max. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I'm excited to see where you're up to this winter. I'm excited to see the new car and the projects that you work on. And I love your style, bro. And I think that it's super unique and cool. And I just keep up the good work. I'll see you in Steamboat hopefully this winter. Are you going to be up in Montana or?
I'll be floating between Steamboat and Montana, so hopefully we can go skiing together this winter.
Yeah, man. That'd be awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Have a good day, man.
Yeah, you too.
See ya. Thanks so much.
Bye, man.
What's up? I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast with Tuck Graham. If anything, this podcast proved that I can still. I think that Tuck got out what he wanted to say in a shorter amount of time than I normally do, and I think the message that he said throughout this podcast was really interesting and insightful, and I hope you guys found it so too. Tuck is a great example of, number one, that you can follow your dreams and do what you want to do to make that makes you happy, but also how much effort it takes to do so. So I think I hope that you guys learned something from this podcast, and you should go check out Tuck on Instagram __Tuck, TG ___. He's a great guy, and I'm psyched to see what he does in the future. Hopefully have him back on again at some point. But yeah, go give him some love. Thank you all for listening. Hope you learned something. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.